did it feel to be so young and to tour with Run-DMC?
And when our first record came out, it was like everybody studied that record. We were in a hardcore band. We were into the music, but we were also really into this other music. And so we figured, if we're into this music, why don't we play this music? And right around that time, we had met them, and we started being friends with them. And it was like being friends with your heroes. And that was cool.
One more question. The kid all the way in the back has been dying to ask you something.
I'm curious to know what you felt you've learned through your experiences, like going through these different schools and touring and doing your whole career, you know.
I would say, you know, just keep positive and focus on, like, what fights you want to fight and what love you want to love. No, just because, you know, you have friends and you're like, you have little fights with them and oh, I can't talk to this person because I can't go to this neighborhood or because of this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, we're going to war with the rat. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's bigger things going on and just in front of you.
All right, let's give him a round of applause.
Give it up for Adam Harvey! Hi, nice to see you. How are you doing? Come over inside of BCO.
How you doing? How you doing?
I feel like Ed McMahon here. I gotta let you sit down first.
How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Okay.
All right.
This is weird. Oh, I'm mic'd.
Oh, there, yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Say hello to Adam Harvitz.
Hi.
So Adam, you're a New Yorker. You went to City Ed School.
Yes.
I know you moved to LA for a little while and you came back to New York now. Why
Yes.
New York and not LA?
Because New York's the best. You know, it's nice out there in California. It's nice, but you know, sometimes you need a change of scenery. So like I sort of went out there and it was nice, and then 7 years later I was like, wow, I'm still here, so I had to come home.
It's a long time, 7 years.
Yeah.
So how did growing up in New York shape you creatively and personally?
That's a good question. I grew up downtown in the Village in Manhattan, so it was, it's a creative neighborhood. So I guess it was just everywhere. You couldn't help it. And my dad's a writer, my mother was an artist, and just creativity all over the place, so I'm pretty lucky.
And I know it infiltrated your music too, because some of your songs start off with the sound of a train screeching, and a lot of your lyrics are about where you're from and
Yeah,
who you
because you
know.
walk around the city and, you know, you hear all of this stuff, and it's a part of, you know, part of life, so it should be part of your music, because music is part of your life, and blah, 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 and all that stuff.
So you became pretty insanely rich and famous at a very young age, pretty much at the age most of these kids are right now. How did you deal with it blowing up like that when you were just young?
I didn't deal with it so good, to be honest. Well, we were just talking back there, you know, when it happens really fast, and all of a sudden you go from not having any money, and then you have a lot of money. And it's interesting the things you can get you know, yourself into.
Yeah.
Did you buy any special presents for yourself?
The first thing I did when, the first time I ever got money, I went and I bought something like $600 worth of groceries and put it all in my mom's, you know, me and my mom's house.
Well, that's nice, right? So again, noting the age of people in our studio, can you tell us like a medium crazy story in your history of being a Beastie Boy? Something from tour?
You know, weird things happen to you when you're with your friends, and when we started playing, we were playing for years, and it was the only people that come to see us play was just our friends and family. And then it got to be this bigger thing, and then a huge thing, and then when it's a huge thing, weird things happen. An example, I was at a party in LA, and Axl Rose came up to me and was like, hey, you guys should stop ripping off Led Zeppelin. Like, imagine you're somewhere and Axl Rose comes up to you and starts talking to you. That's how weird it gets when...
Yeah.
But I remember, see, I'm from, I guess, your generation. I'm in my 30s. And I remember...
30-something.
30, but I remember from, you know, the Run-DMC and going to hearing your first album.
License to Ill.
License to Ill.
Yes.
And you guys were wild, and you guys used to really, you know, really perform and talk about, you know, scream about these wild things. It seems like you've mellowed out a whole lot. So has there been a progression in your albums of what you rap about in your albums from back in the 80s to now?
Yeah, like, you know, if you live your life and like I was, you know, I guess you could say I was kind of wild, you know, when I was at City As, and if you stay wild, that's kind of sad.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? If you see like the 35-year-old knucklehead, kind of sad.
Yeah,
So
well, they
you got
tell
to
me that all
change,
the
and you
time.
have to think, you know, introspectively and outward, and all of these things.
So, are there anything happened in your life that made you turn, or any point in your life that made you turn and realize that the world is just a little bit more serious than the Beastie Boys, so to speak, or what they were about back in those days? Like, what was that turning point that made you realize that, you know, I have to kind of make a turnaround here?
You know, I don't know if it was one specific thing. I mean, maybe it was, you know, the Gulf War. Maybe it was just being, you know, open to. It doesn't happen one day, but you know, when you start seeing things in perspective and you start seeing that the world is a bigger place than what you're doing, then things turn around, and then yeah.
No, but, you know, because the whole experience, and those kids are maybe a generation removed from our generation, maybe. Just trying to make the connection for them, give them some insight to where they can be moving towards.
Well, I would go to my, you know, resources during the day, and then at night go play shows, and then weekends work at the ice cream store or whatever.
So it's cool.
And my boss was a City As student.
Oh, cool.
Oh. I think what we're trying to say here is that you guys can find something that you like now, and you might find yourself doing it years and years and years from now. Is that sort of succinct on what we're just talking about?
But you know that. You got to know that. That what you're into now could be the future of what you're doing. Like, your hobby can be your profession, and that's the beautiful thing. Like, when your hobby becomes the thing that pays your rent, then you got it made.
I've seen where you have debuted new styles of music more than one time. And I wondered, when you make when you segue into a change-up, do you just go, I think, like you went from punk rock and you started rapping. I'm going to rap. Here I go. I can rap. Look, I have the ability to write rhymes. I can flow. Look at me doing it. If it was me, it would take me years to try to figure out a flow, see if I could write anything. And then you guys got back into instrumental later on.
Right.
And you said one day, let's do this, and just picked up and started playing great, or did you have to practice and set it up? How do you account for your ability to just go to these new styles?
Well, that's part of, you know, like City As, and part of Manhattan and New York City is that, like, things are out there for you. And I guess early on we were like, well, why should we have to do this one thing? Because we're interested in all these different things. So why not, you know, why not create what you're into, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. You know what? One thing that's fascinating about you guys, the Beastie Boys, is that you guys never had the Vanilla Ice syndrome. Never. You guys, like, you hit, no, for real. You know, when Vanilla Ice came out, they was like, oh, he's corny, he's fake. But you guys came out hitting hard from day one and got the respect of most of the rap industry, like, right away.
You don't like Vanilla Ice?
I like them.
Man, I was trying to make the comparison
You
between
didn't like his movie?
No, I didn't really see the
See the
movie.
movie, okay.
But no, you know
I
what
know
I
what
mean.
you're saying, and that's a large part to do with us and our friendship with Run-DMC. And I guess it's like their creativity, you know, they just inspired us to just be like that.
Are you still friends with them?
Definitely don't see them as much as, you know, I haven't seen them in a while. Run came to my old apartment like a year ago, 2 years ago.
We came looking for his sneakers that left in the closet. or
Something like
I left
that.
my Adidas in there.
Something like that. Yeah.
The band has been massively successful, and I don't feel like you ever really intended to make mainstream pop records, though, and yet you blew up really big. Did you ever get surprised at how huge you got? Did you ever feel that way?
It was crazy. It was like I was saying. It was just us and just our friends, and then all of a sudden it became this thing, and we were on TV, and it was crazy. Playing shows, we played at Madison Square Garden. Like, that was insane. That was crazy to think of ever happening, and it happened.
Was it ever more than you wanted?
No.
So as big as it got, you were happy with that?
What's that?
As big as it ever got, you were happy with that? It was
Well,
never more
sometimes
than you
it's
wanted to
weird. I
happen.
mean, sometimes it's really weird. I mean, you go, like, they have these festivals, like we played at the Lollapalooza thing a while ago, or these festivals in Europe, and there's like 80,000 people there. And I'm on stage with my two best friends, and we're looking at each other like, there's 80,000 people here. It's weird, just standing on stage at Madison Square Garden and just being like, wow. I mean, I would have liked to have been on the Knicks doing it, but I went
Right.
another route.
how far away, where was the place you traveled on tour that you just felt like you were the furthest away from home? I don't mean like actually geographically, but you were like, this is way, way out.
We've been all over. We've been everywhere. It's you know.
When Axl Rose came up to him.
That was basically it. Yeah, being in Los Angeles is where you're like, this is the most way out place I've ever been.
So what's up next with the Beastie Boys?
We're recording a new record and getting ready to do what we do.
Oh, cool, man. I can't wait for it, man, because I'm a big fan of the Beastie Boys. That's right. Go out and get the first album and the second album and catch up.
Do you think that you might ever reproduce yourself and add a little Beastie Boy into the mix?
What does that mean?
A little Beastie Boy. Think you might ever have any kids?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
The two other guys have a kid. Mike just had a kid last week.
All right. What's his name?
Little D.
Little D.
There you go.
All right. So
Now-
Andrew, does the audience have any questions? All right.
Speak into the mic, darling.
I was just wondering what you were thinking when you guys like wrote Paul Revere. Like, where did that come out from?
That song, I wrote that sitting on the steps of St. Mark Sound's record store on 8th Street. We actually went to the recording studio and we were actually going to record with Run-DMC one night. And we're waiting outside up on 20-something Street, and we're waiting there, and then all of a sudden we see Run from Run-DMC running down the block at us, screaming something. We didn't know, and he kept screaming louder and louder, and it got to us, and he just said, "Here's a little story I got to tell." And that was it. And we were like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "That's the song." And that was it. That was the whole song. So we just, and then we...
That's great.
Anyway.
You know how a lot of these groups now are breaking up, they have a lot of problems. What is it that kept your group together?
That's a question I should have asked him. That's a good
I
question.
know, I'm jealous of your question.
Well, two things. One, we've been best friends for 20-something years. I mean, we're just friends. And so we had a thing happen after our first record came out where actually we sold all these records and we didn't actually get paid from our record label, which is something else that, you know, if any musicians are out there and you want to continue with music, I would say focus on your contracts when that happens, that, you know, make sure that the legal stuff is settled. But anyway, so we had problems with our record label. We didn't get paid, and that really was a strange thing for us where anything could have happened. And so we decided one day, we were like, no matter what happens, we're best friends, nothing is going to tear us apart, anything is, you know, no money, no nothing. And so if anything funny comes up, we're like, okay.
Like Suge Knight.
He said that.
Nobody wants to say, Suge Knight, is he here?
But you know what I mean? So we're just like, if anything weird comes up, we're like, okay, let's remember we're best friends. Whatever happens, happens. And so.
Is popular music that's out today gonna inspire your new albums?
Sometime popular, like MTV music?
Yeah.
Rarely. Rarely.
You think it ever did?
Probably. Inspired, that's a, you know, an interesting thing, because you can get inspired in a positive way from a negative thing. Do you know what I mean? If you see something, you see a lot of things, you're like, this is terrible, I'm going to do this. Do you know what I mean? So it's inspiring to see things that you don't like sometimes. And it's inspiring just in life when you see racism and sexism and all this stuff, that you can take these bad things and turn them into outwardly positive things.
I want to know if Run-DMC and Beastie Boys are doing another tour somewhere coming years.
I mean, you know, maybe. They haven't called me in a long time, so it'd be nice.
We got his sneakers back. Anyone else?
Yes, we have somebody else.
One more question for you. Do you have any other skills or profession besides singing in case it didn't work out that you could have fell back on?
Not particularly. See, I was lucky enough, I started playing in a band when I was 14. So I always had this, I was lucky to have, like, this is my, I don't know what I'd be doing now, to be honest with you. I'd probably just still be playing, and I just was like, this is what I'm gonna do. So I don't know. I must have skills at something. I don't know what they are. I'd like to have skills at something.
Yes, I want to know, like, what did you do to relax when you were on tour and, like, for long periods of time?
I buy records. I go to thrift shops and record stores, anywhere to buy records. That's what I do. I've always done that, just find the record stores.
We have the DJ that wants to ask a question. If you can follow me to the DJ.
Yeah, my question is Mixmaster Mike going to be on your upcoming album?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, if he'll call me back.
Oh, really?
Nobody called me, you know.
Why don't you call him, man?
What's your number?
Knock on that door, man. You're famous
Why don't
enough
you
to say,
come on,
hey,
come on up here.
He's
Come on
a
up.
DJ, definitely.
I'm trying to work my way to the stage because I just want to be next to Adam and let you ask the question. Sit down right next to...
Okay, come on, have a seat.
To be part of the forum.
You're so shy.
Don't be shy, sweetheart.
Okay. No, my question to you is a lot of artists that have come up, they did it because they loved it and they didn't know that they were going to be as big as they were. Was that your goal, or was it like, oh, cool, we're on TV and...
Yeah, it was never like, we're going to do this because then we're going to take it to this level and then this level and we're going to be on Arsenio Hall is our dream. It was sort of like, you know, just playing together and being creative and just being in a band was what was really the most fun of it. Is that what you're asking? Like,
yeah.
It wasn't like, you know, we're going to work towards this goal. The goal was always like, we're going to make a record.
So as a young child, you didn't sit there, you didn't say, oh, I'm going to be a rapper, I'm going to be a star when I grow up, or I'm going to be in a band.
I was always wanting to be in a band, but I never thought it would be at Madison Square Garden. I thought it would be at CBGB's. Do you know what I mean? Like, I thought it would be over in this place here. I never expected that.
So let me ask you a question. Is there a place now that you think that is like so far out of your thinking, realm of thinking, that it would be like so big?
Well, Shea Stadium.
Shea Stadium? Are you a Met fan also? He's not even answering that. That was that look. We have a lot of Shea Stadium fans.
All right, before we start brawling over Mets Yankees like we've been doing all day, let's just say thank you very much to Adam Harvey for coming here and talking about it.
And that's our show. Thank you for coming back to After School. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Adam so much. Thank you, Adam Harvey.
Adam Harvey, and thanks to you guys. City Y'all be good.